We can next slide.
Tim, you're seeing the right screen, yeah? Word cloud, what comes to your mind when you hear the word AI? We're all good?
All good.
Beautiful. Wonderful, wonderful.
Let's move to the next slide where the actual word cloud comes into.
OpenAI is very happy about that. They're pseudonymous with artificial intelligence. What is the first thing that comes to mind when I hear the word AI?
Okay. Uh-oh.
Yeah, right. Are we okay to Misha and Hiba, are we okay to talk while everybody's doing the poll, or should we be quiet during this phase? I'm very chatty, so I'll tend to chat unless you tell me no.
Absolutely. Gosh, go ahead.
I mean, I think one of the major open questions of artificial intelligence around the concept of layoffs and efficiency and humans, which are three things that are sort of being mentioned up here, is, you know, the history of technological innovations, whether you go back to, you know, steam engines or factories and automation, printing press, et cetera, is that there is displacement, but not actual job loss in the long term. In fact, often there's job creation, but they're different jobs than the jobs that existed before. And turns out to be incredibly hard to predict. I forget who the quote is, but like predicting is a really difficult business, particularly if you're talking about the future.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I forget who. I'm misquoting that, but it's a great quote. Like predictions are really hard, especially about the future. So, so I think a big open question for everybody about AI, right, is that it seems increasingly likely that there will be significant job displacement, especially among knowledge workers and people whose work primarily is doing things at a computer, whether that's coding, emailing, writing reports, analyzing data, things like that. And so the question is, I think for many, is like, what are the jobs that go away and what are the jobs that get created? Or do existing jobs change as companies, you know, identify things that employees they currently pay people to do that they don't need to pay them to do, but then they think, oh, let's pay the people to do this other thing that provides this other value. And so there'll be, I think, a changing of skills that will be required at the minimum for many people.
And you can't quite imagine them because we're not there yet.
That's the problem,
right?
yeah.
So when when we went from horse and buggy to cars, the horse and buggy drivers had a hard time imagining like stoplights
Yes.
because there hadn't been a need for it. And I think
Yeah.
that's
And there were entire industries that, dedicated to removing horse manure from roadways. And in fact, New York City, I don't know how many people know this, like in the late 1800s, were actually concerned that the city was going to become uninhabitable due to the just sheer amount of horse manure that was accumulating in the streets that they couldn't get rid of, which, went away very differently than they'd imagined it. But, was shoveling horse manure a really value add for human beings? Like, yes, they lost those jobs, but my guess is those people moved into jobs they were probably happier in.
I didn't realize that about New York City.
Yeah.
Where we're from, by the way, but both Joshua and I live in the New York area, though neither of us technically in the city. We're reminded by our colleague. Though you are, Josh, Queens.
Yes. Although Destiny wouldn't call it New York.
I'm north of the city.
So, all right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on AI prompt engineering. We are really excited. We are really thrilled to have you all join us for what promises to be a very engaging and insightful session. We'll just keep the polls coming in for about 1 more minute. You can see the QR code on your screen and requesting you all to please turn in your responses and while everyone else joins in. So yeah, we are going to start in a minute.
And I dropped the LinkedIn about the horse manure crisis of 1894 in New York, if anyone's curious about reading it. Real thing. If you're eating, I don't recommend it. What city are you in, Michelle?
I am based in Bangalore, Josh. It's in the southern part of India right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Bangalore's got to have comparable amount of people to New York City, right? You've got over 10 million there, right?
Wow. So, all right, I think we will wrap up the poll now. Please feel free to check out the chat section as well. Both Kim and Josh will be dropping in links and useful resources for you to check out later. And yeah. Okay, again, hi everyone. Once again, welcome to this webinar. We are now ready to begin today's workshop on sharing with you a consolidated crash course on AI prompt engineering strategies for nonprofits, led by two very seasoned experts and speakers in this field, Kim Snyder and Joshua Pesquet. This is the second workshop in our impact series that will cover and touch upon different tools, AI tools that you as nonprofits can utilize in and incorporate to better streamline your operations, transform your organization's digital journey, and use them as per your organizational growth as well. So yeah, so this is, Joshua, you can go on to the second slide. Yeah. So as far as the agenda is concerned, I will be walking you through a few introductions at the beginning, including what Goodera does, understanding the AI landscape a little bit. And then Kim and Josh will really be walking us through the fundamentals of AI prompting, just really breaking it down for us into very simpler terms, providing use case for multiple scenarios. Through their vast experience, learnings, and knowledge. Then we will be talking about different risks that are involved while you are using AI prompting for different purposes. And that could include aspects like protecting your privacy, data privacy, being mindful of copyright infringement, so on and so forth. They will also be then providing us with different methods, aspects of AI prompting, and finally backing it up with very interactive live demos, real case examples, use cases, and different examples to help you understand how it usually works in the real world. And in the end, we will just be sort of taking any questions, concerns, inputs that you have for us. While throughout the session, we will also be running you through some more polls to keep the webinar interesting, fun, and engaging. So yeah, next slide, Josh, please. So just to give you a bit of an introduction about Goodera, Goodera is essentially a startup in the space of corporate volunteering. We enable corporate volunteering for our corporate partners and our impact organizations, nonprofit partners as well. We bridge the network via volunteering. We offer an entire ecosystem of volunteering to these, primarily these stakeholders. We have worked with more than 500 Fortune 500 customers and spread across different geographies, different countries as well. And we have fortunately been able to engage more than 1 million volunteers and have maintained a very diverse community as well. So, and across different countries, different geographies, working with more than 50,000 nonprofits in different focus areas with diverse communities. And we have done volunteering in all formats as well, in person, remote, and hybrid. And now we are really excited to bring this series to you to empower nonprofit partners, nonprofit organizations with innovative AI tools and strategies to help you build different solutions and enhance your mission, streamline operations, and so on and so forth. Yeah, you can go forward. Gosh. So just to cover some of the success stories that we wanted to share with you, some success stories of nonprofits who have effectively implemented AI prompt engineering into their mission. So when it comes to M-Relief, they have used AI to simplify the process of signing up for food stamps. Usually the process for signing up is very exhaustive, frustrating at times, but they have made use of a chatbot, created a chatbot to make the process very motivating and very simple for their customers as well. And when it comes to Jacaranda Health, they have been instrumental in transforming healthcare in Africa primarily. And they have also come up with a scalable solution called prompts to support lactating mothers, new mothers, essentially providing accessible healthcare services and supporting them with medical emergencies as well. Lastly, Trevor Foundation as well.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Sorry. Stop clicking things. My apologies.
Yeah, so even Trevor Foundation has again made use of AI in training a tool. It's basically a counselor which caters to the need of youth in crisis and preventing them, motivating, opening dialogue and conversations to prevent any sort of suicides and provide critical care essentially. Yeah, next please. Yeah. So, so for today's workshop, we have two incredible speakers, seasoned professionals, seasoned experts who hold a vast amount of experience and knowledge in leveraging AI, especially for the nonprofit community. We have on the panel Kim Snyder and Joshua Pesky from Roundtable Technology. and they have been the leading force behind Roundtable as well. And just to talk a little bit about RT, they designed very easy to use, accessible, affordable technological solutions for the nonprofits, ranging from everything tech to helping them with filling resource gaps, improving productivity, fundraising, etc., etc. So safe to say that there's practically no one better than them to essentially learn from and understand different strategies about almost everything AI. So once again, welcome Kim and Josh. We are very, very excited to learn everything that you have in store for us during the session. So yeah, over to you guys.
Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. So just trying to get a sense of who's here today. And this is where are you on the prompt creation continuum? So in terms of using AI, thinking about prompts, where would you put yourself? This is self-assessment, so you will not be graded on this. And it's just helpful for us to get a sense of who all's here. So you can just leave this up for a minute and see what's happening. Okay, good. All right. So, and you know, honestly, Josh, are you a guru yet?
I always like to call myself a guru in so many
Yeah.
things, you know? Yeah. No, I would say like the best I would ever is like, you know, learning. Like it's not on here. I don't think I'm on my way to becoming a wizard. I am in a state of continuous learning. I think I am not a beginner, but I don't feel I'm getting any closer to being an expert. I'm just continuing to learn.
And that's kind of the nature of the of AI, actually. So yeah, so I will go ahead and close it. So and it's great to see that there are a lot of people who are new to AI prompting. So welcome, and hopefully we will help demystify it a bit. So what are we even talking about when we say prompting? Okay, this is basically the text that you put into the AI to ask it to do something, right? So when we enter a text prompt into an AI, when we ask it a question, please create an RFP for me about, you know, fill in the subject, right? Please create a job description for a program director. Those are all prompts. So the things you ask it, please create a recipe for a group of vegetarians, right? That's also a prompt. So that's what we're talking about today, is how we interact with the AI. So I think on the next slide, we will look at when we think about AI systems, and this slide changes every time we turn around, okay? Every time we give this presentation, there's something different on this slide. And there's a couple things we're going to point you to right now, but there's a bunch of tools that you can use for free. And so the ChatGPT, which a number of you identified as what you even think about, you associate the AI with ChatGPT, and that was really the first one to come out big, right? Claude is another tool similar to ChatGPT. I have found ChatGPT to be the most versatile of the tools. Copilot is the one that comes with Microsoft. So if your organizations have Microsoft 365, you might have Copilot there. And even if you don't, you can use it for free. Gemini comes with Google. Then on the other side, we have paid tools. Interesting story. Okay, so the ChatGPT one at the top, you'll notice there are a couple with asterisks after them. O1 and O1 mini. And people do disparage the names that people give, that the AI developers give. It's like, what kind of name is that? But anyway, O1 and O1 mini really represent a different approach to prompting, and we will cover that you know, later in the session, but just kind of put that in your back pocket. And the other tools,
Even worse, Kim, is like internally they called it Strawberry, which is like, why not just release it as Strawberry and Strawberry Mini? Like that's such a better name, right? Like
O1. It's O, like
they have it backwards. They call it like something interesting internally in their company, and then when they publicly release it, they call it like some generic thing.
Are you
Anyway.
using O1 yet? So yeah. I'd say that one of the advantages, and I'm looking especially at Microsoft Copilot and also the team version of ChatGPT, is that with the paid version, you have options to get to have it in your own enterprise so that the data that you put into your prompts, and we're going to talk about this more later, does not become part of the training data for the AI. So this is just a preliminary introduction to these different tools. So we can go on. All right, so think of AI as a writing buddy, something that can help you write things. I don't know how many people, I struggle with a blank page. Like when I start to work on something and there is nothing on the screen in front of me, I have a hard time, right? So I use AI a lot for that. And I expect to change it a lot when I put a prompt in and get AI, the AI gives me a response back. I fully expect to either keep asking it to refine itself, or I will edit something a lot myself if it comes pretty close in the beginning. All right. AI is also great at summarizing things. It is an incredible copy editor. Please help me fix this letter that I'm writing grammatically, make the grammar better. It has consumed a lot of marketing data, so it's actually pretty good at creating marketing or website content that is friendly with search engine optimization. It's also really good at stuff like Excel formulas. All right, so and Python coding. So it's really limitless. All right. In fact, at the very end of this session, and I'm just planting the seed right now, at the very end of the session, we want to save enough time to do a few things for people in the audience. Like, so if you have like a work task that you need to get done, or a written task or an image, think about it and let us know, because we'd love to do in our demo something that you have asked for. So just hold on to that thought. So next we're going to have, this is Tanmay Bakshi, who Joshua and I had the pleasure of meeting. I think he was 19. He's like a prodigy of AI, and I think it's helpful to understand what the AI is doing under the hood. So this is the best explanation that we found so far.
Say if you ask ChatGPT, what's AI going to do in the future, right? The way that ChatGPT generates a response for you is actually really interesting. It's effectively just entirely statistical language modeling. Given a sentence or given some sort of prefix, GPT's entire goal, its entire objective, is simply to take those words and predict, of all the tokens in its known vocabulary, the probability of any one of those tokens being the actual genuine next token in the sequence. That's all that GPT is doing. What you're seeing right now is a genuine visualization of the way that GPT, specifically GPT-2, would generate a response. It is simply taking words and predicting the probabilities of which word will come next.
Kim, I'm
Okay.
going to take a few seconds just to explain something really
all the
quick.
tokens in its known vocabulary,
Hang on one second.
actual genuine.
So one thing that people may not be aware of is there's this concept called temperature within AI tools, where you can set the temperature of something you're working with. And what that's doing is increasing or decreasing the variability. So if you set the tool that you're using to a very low temperature, okay, it's only going to basically select the most likely word or the next most likely next token in the sequence. But as you increase the temperature, you increase the variability. And one thing is that this has a cascading effect, because if you're predicting the next thing, right? If the next word is predict instead of do, that means it's predicting the next word based on predict, not on do, which then cascades down to all the other words. And so this is why you get these incredibly variable outputs from AI systems. And this is very important to prompting and understanding the results you're getting from prompting. So sorry to interrupt with that, Kim, but that's a sort of a concept I'm becoming much more familiar with.
Say if you ask ChatGPT.
All right, continue on. Sorry, Kim.
So that's kind of a more advanced concept, but suffice it to say, okay, what it's doing in there is not thinking. It is doing math, probabilistic statistics. And I think that's a really important concept to bear in mind when working with these tools. It can feel like it's thinking. As you see here, my first tip to getting started here is talk to it like you would to a person. You can feel like you're talking to someone and it answers in a very coherent way, right? I ask it to help me write better prompts, all right? And I'm also polite to it as just a general rule. I think that's a good rule to get into, but it's very conversational as a tool. It is one of the words that came to someone's mind when saw AI was technology. I actually don't, it's actually more about asking questions. So, but that said, talk to it like you would a person, but it is not thinking in there. And in fact, on the next one, here's a good model, the next slide. Okay. This was really helpful in the early days when I was first starting to work with AI and prompting. Think of it as an intern that has consumed a lot of information, right? So it has a lot of knowledge at its disposal, but it's an intern. So you need to be very clear and specific when you ask it to do something. You need to give them background, or if you want them to follow an example, you can give them an example, but think of it as the way you would guide an intern who you're going to ask to write a summary of a report for a board meeting, right? You're not going to just let that intern go, but you're going to give it very, very clear instructions. And the better the instructions are, the closer you will get to the mark. Okay. So on the next slide, Josh. This is the term prompt engineering, right? And I think of it as really writing, right? So part of telling the AI and giving your intern specific instructions, the AI has consumed a lot, so give it a role. Tell it which part of its brain you want it to go to, right? You then describe what you want it to do. As I was just saying, if there's some background information that's important, some context, tell it that, and give it very clear instructions about what you want it to produce, okay? We recommend, more than anything else, experimentation and learning to talk with the AI, right? We've been teaching these courses actually since ChatGPT came out, and people will say, well, what's the best way to learn how to prompt? And sometimes the answer, which is sometimes not satisfying to people, it's experiment. Get used to working with it like you would a new intern in your office. And I think that's one of the best models.
I actually like, and I realize it's the title of our webinar, but I'm in some ways I don't like the term prompt engineering, and I wish it wasn't there. Because on a certain level, if any of you are parents, there's like a book like How to Talk, with your kids so you can understand them and they can understand you. Like that's really what it is. It's really, prompt engineering is just fancy for like how to talk with an AI so it can understand what you want and give it to you. Like that's really what prompt engineering is.
And sometimes people are like kind of dissatisfied initially when they try AI tools, but it's really, think of it again as the intern. Oh, I didn't give it clear enough instructions. So maybe that's why it gave me this really mediocre answer, or it's really kind of not, it didn't quite hit the mark. So anyway, so experiment and try different
And
things.
to our host, I noticed that we have a couple of attendees with hands up. I don't know if we want to do anything with that or just instruct them to answer or put questions into the Q&A section. But anyway, just noted that we have a couple of attendees with hands up.
Yeah, please put questions in the Q&A. And for our hosts, if Joshua and I happen to be A, talking too fast, which we can do sometimes, or B, using terms that don't make sense, let us know and we will be sure to clarify. Oh, sorry, this is one of the other links, and we can make sure it gets provided to you after the session. But this is, if you need help writing a prompt, Anthropic, those are the makers of Claude, have created this console tool, which I think writes excellent prompts. Now, it's not free, though it does allow you to try it initially on a couple of prompts for free. So that, and it gives some really good, I've been very satisfied with Anthropic's prompts. The next couple slides just show some examples of the types of things that we see nonprofits doing with generative AI tools, such as the ones that we've just been talking about, regularly, right? So this, for example, is a report that's probably about 50, 60 pages long. And rather than read the whole report, because I don't have that much time, you can give it to the AI. Many of the systems accept uploads, and then you can ask it for a document summary and what the key points were. You can also ask questions about it. You can ask if it covers certain things or what it says about certain things that you might be particularly interested in. Okay, I use this a lot. I actually use it to analyze privacy policies, which is really boring to read, but very helpful with AI. Another use case, this is video just plays quietly in the background. So this is an example that we found really helpful. You can give AI content, like either a written piece or a web page, and say, give me some personas, like some possible audience members for, this type of writing promotions to advertise this type of event, right? So it can come up with the people for you, and it can also then help you tailor messaging for these different specific audiences. Because I find it really helpful to think of, like, who am I doing this for when I'm creating something, and it can help you do that. I found that. And the next slide, similarly, you can give it content and ask it to provide you with an outline. How would I present this in a 1-hour workshop? What points would I cover, and what kinds of discussion questions could I ask? So that's another example of prompts. And these are really just prompts in English. This is prompt engineering technically, but I'm really asking it, review this source content and provide me with an outline and some ideas for discussion questions. And I can continue talking, asking questions if I wanted to focus on certain things, for example, in the discussion questions. I think we hop over to you now, Josh.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so let's talk about making images, which is a very popular use case for AI, especially for marketers or folks that have to create content for public consumption. The free tools here are Copilot and Gemini. There's free-ish tools like Adobe Firefly. And actually ChatGPT, is there a reason you didn't put ChatGPT there as a free image generator, Kim?
Well, it's kind of Dolly. Oh,
yeah, it's using Dolly, but yeah, you can use ChatGPT for free as well, and that will make images for you. And then Adobe Firefly.
Yeah.
Adobe Firefly and Canva will let you edit images using AI, and there's some pretty cool features there, like generative fill and background swap. So if I have an image with me and Kim, and we want to replace me with another version of Kim, so it'll be twice as smart, then you can generatively remove me and replace it with another image of Kim, and then Kim suddenly will have a twin sister that's presenting with her. If Kim and I are presenting with my background here, but we'd rather have it be her background, you can actually do a background swap and other kinds of cool AI tricks like that using those tools. Then paid plans will let you do more images in a given day, faster, sometimes better quality. I would say Midjourney is still the kind of class of the field in terms of overall quality. They do now have a free version that lets you do, I think, 10 images a month, something like that.
Yeah,
but,
it's limited, but
anyway,
that's
yeah.
free-ish. Like,
yeah, and when you're making images, you'll burn through 10 images in 5 seconds trying to get one image that you actually want to use, because you're going to be generating lots of versions of images as you go through that. So just be aware of that. Misha, did you have something you wanted to say? I noticed you came on camera. No, okay, great, okay. No problem. We're happy to have you here on camera. Just double checking. So building blocks for image prompts, adjective. So, a furry frog, right, running in the style of an 18th century impressionist painter, right? And that will give me an image that will look something like that. That's the sort of simple, easy thing, or a curious frog analyzing data on a computer in comic book style. And then you get an image that looks like a curious frog analyzing data, right, in a comic book style. So that's the kind of simplest. And then if you want to get really advanced, which many of you, might want to do, you can get very, very specific. with style and with framing, with vibes, with the type of illustration. Kim, who does this a lot, I don't have it easily available to show, but like, you know, for a web training we're doing, she creates these really nice images that basically look like pencil sketches of sort of computer scenes. They're all just very simple black and white pencil sketches, but they look great. They all match a very specific style, and she's able to generate them for all sorts of different ideas throughout these webinars. And you know, that's just one example of being able to use these things effectively once you kind of get the prompting down.
Let me tell you a secret about those really cool images.
Yeah.
How do I get that really good prompt? I gave ChatGPT an image, a model image, and I said, how do I write a prompt for this style?
Reverse engineering, right? Which we'll talk about in a minute, which is, I'll get to that in a second. Anyway, so experiment with styles, all right? And you can try different things and see what works. So you see how different images we get of frogs based on what we say about the styles, right? They're, other than the fact they all have frogs in them, they're totally different artistic styles, right? Couldn't be more different. And then this is to Kim's point, right? You can upload, you can do this in reverse. So if you have an image and you would like to learn about it, okay, and this is, I think, going to be an incredibly popular use case, especially as we increasingly carry around AI things on our phone, or even Meta is actually having a announcement today of an update to their Meta glasses, where basically you have a camera that's in your glasses, you can ask it questions. So this true augmented reality where it's like, what am I looking at? Tell me everything you can about what I'm looking at, right? But it's really, really good at this. It's very, very good at extracting text from images, at explaining what is in an image. I found this like funny thing hanging across the apartment, across the hallway at my apartment building, and was like, what is that thing? And it turned out it was like a thing contractors use to check that a door is level, and they just left it hanging there. And, you know, it's kind of very fun to use it in that regard. So Kim's, you know, describing just no context, no anything, just uploads the image, and it immediately recognizes not only that it's a subway map of New York City, but that it's an older one, and kind of talks about all of those things. So it's incredibly helpful. And then the use case that isn't in the video here, but that Kim talked about, is if I want to have a bunch of images that look like a particular image I have, but I don't know the prompt to do that, ask AI to give you a prompt that would generate images in this style, and then you'll have your prompt, right? Reverse engineering is fantastic. All right, I think we're back to you now, Kim.
Yep. So let's talk a little bit about risk and benefit. Okay. No good discussion of AI and prompting, or AI and anything, would be good without a little bit of risk discussion. Let's put it that way.
I like that
So
it spelled risk and benefit correctly in all those instances. It doesn't look like you had to swap them out either. It looks like it actually did spell
it actually
correctly.
spelled, it's getting better at spelling for folks, even though it can extract text from images beautifully. It's actually can be terrible at spelling, which is odd and counterintuitive. So I think the next slide is a poll. It's a double
Well, I wonder
poll.
why ASL, why we have American Sign Language in a jar there. That's kind of a random one. Anyway, all right.
So this is a poll. This is a question we like to ask. We know we have nonprofits on the call here. So question number
And
one.
we even know what the answers are going to be ahead of time because we've
Well,
been through
maybe,
this.
maybe not. I'm always hopeful.
Yeah.
So have you used
That's
AI
okay.
for any work-related tasks? And question number two, does your organization provide guidance or have a policy regarding AI use? And it is an anonymous poll, so no one's going to get in trouble for filling this one out.
We promise. We're not turning anyone in to the AI police.
A bunch of frauds.
Which is now happening. Minority Report is now happening. I forget where it is, but they're using CCTV footage to try to predict possible crimes before they happen.
Okay, I can see that one. Good thing we're about to talk about risk. All right, so let me see where we're at here. Yes. Well, some of you has one. So while a
notice
lot
how
of
these are sort of reversed and they should be the same, right?
so here's the good news. So this was kind of the bad news poll, but there's good news with this. At the very end of the session, one of the things you can take home, actually is in one of the resources, we have an article about AI policy. So if you want to take that article back to your organization and say, should we have an AI policy? And it provides a template, right? And with AI policy, it's good to provide guidelines. So let's have a think about how we mitigate risk. Okay. So risk and complexity are the two axes on this chart. On the left side and on the bottom, we have low risk and low complexity. This is the area where we're talking about mostly today, generative AI. So the AI that we use to make things mostly falls here, right? It's less complex, it's less, it's less hard to do, but also less risk. Why? Because you can review it. As we go up the chart, analysis, so document summary, if I'm going to have it summarize a report and I'm about to give a talk about it, there's a little bit more risk because there's more to do with verifying it, and it could get something wrong, and I need to then go look at it. So there's a higher risk that it could get something wrong because it's a more complex task I'm asking this AI, this probabilistic statistics, to do. Automation, and this is where we get into kind of next level AI, is when the AI is essentially doing stuff by itself, right? So it can do routine tasks, and they can be amazingly helpful, right? We're not going to really get into that at all in this session, but when the AI is doing things without that human in the loop is where you start to have obviously more risk. It's also more complex to do. So I think I'm aware we're.
And anybody who's not familiar with it, if you want to watch a very good little short animated film and also get a lesson on the benefits and risks of automation with AI, go watch Disney's Sorcerer's Apprentice from Fantasia, which is an excellent example of both the benefit and risk of AI. Anyway.
Okay, so this is a sonnet by Copilot. This is to say AI will sometimes make stuff up, right? It's probabilistic statistics. It wants to please you, it really does. But sometimes it gets things wrong. Sometimes it gets things wrong and sounds really right. And that's where it's really important to verify. So if you go to the next slide. All right, so how do you mitigate the fact that these things will sometimes hallucinate or confabulate? Those are the words that you hear more. Doesn't mean don't use it. It means know that this can happen, right? So I really, as a general rule for myself, I don't ask it about things that I have no way of verifying. So even when I'm doing something like asking AI to review a legal regulation, like a privacy regulation, right? Many pages long. I don't want to read the whole thing. I will ask it things like, please tell me what page you got that information from, so that then I can go and check, right? So you want to verify. So when I get in trouble if I start to ask AI about something that I know nothing about. For example, a relative was having problems with their health problems. I asked the AI, it was completely wrong, right? I am not a doctor. I cannot verify that. So the lesson here is review. And part of an AI policy, actually, that we have at our organization is a requirement to review anything that comes out of AI, right? Because you can't, it looks good, but it could be completely wrong. And in the next couple of slides, we'll kind of remind people of some things that, some consequences of that, right? So on the next slide, Josh. All right, so this lawyer got really famous for reasons that he doesn't want to be famous for. The AI made up, basically legal proceedings, court cases that never happened. The AI wanted to give him what he wanted. So it gave him these perfect legal precedent, but it never happened. And that was a problem. And that's not how he wanted to get on the front page of the New York Times, right? Similarly, the next slide. This talks a lot more about the importance of testing. especially with these chatbots, right? It's automated, so it's higher risk, higher complexity. But the National Eating Disorders Association, they did a bad thing. They phased out some of the human helpline people and then put in a chatbot that then started to give bad information, telling people with, you know, to diet, which is not the advice you want to give. It's not sound, it's not. And so they really, I'll say they also made the news for very bad reasons. Was it their fault? Well, their developer was starting to incorporate more generative AI so that it was more able to use some of this generative capability, but they clearly did not test it enough. And who gets the bad reputation? Not their developer, but the nonprofit. So you just really want to test things and, you know that these things can happen. And so you build that into your testing. I think the next slide is we're going to talk a little bit about bias, and we'll let John Oliver speak for himself.
Researchers like Joy Blomweeny have repeatedly found that certain groups tend to get excluded from the data that AI is trained on, putting them at a serious disadvantage.
With self-driving cars, when they tested pedestrian tracking, it was less accurate on darker-skinned individuals than lighter-skinned individuals.
Joy believes this bias is because of the lack of diversity in the data used in teaching AI to make distinctions.
As I started looking at the data sets, I learned that for some of the largest data sets that have been very consequential for the field, they were majority men and majority lighter-skinned individuals or white individuals. So I call this pale male data.
Okay, pale male data is an objectively hilarious term, and it also sounds like what an AI program would say if you asked it to describe this show. But biased inputs leading to biased outputs is a big issue across the board here.
All right,
And-
so, okay.
I was going to say that's a very serious problem. There are lots of serious bias problems. There are also lots of sort of weird, funny, but annoying ways that bias emerges. An example is in the US for where a lot of these AI models were trained for OpenAI and Microsoft and Google and so forth. They've been finding that between Thanksgiving and New Year's, the models will provide less helpful sources. Last year, there was this brief panic because they felt the quality of the responses was declining and no one quite could figure out why. And it basically turned out that humans don't provide as good of responses to questions and inquiries in the US anyway, between Thanksgiving and New Year's, because we get a little lazier during that time. We're going to parties and whatnot. And the AI was just picking up on that. And because the query was happening on December 4th, it was giving a December 4th quality level of response, which is just another part of bias in the training data causing a problem. That one's kind of humorous, but anyway, and that happens a million ways.
Okay, so I recommend, and these are resources that you have in the resources area. Her book, on Unmasking AI. You know, some people avoid AI because they're concerned about bias. Here's someone who's really the foremost person looking at it and studying it, who encourages people, especially human-centered people, like people who work in nonprofits who are probably attending today, to get to know AI and to learn about it. And the Algorithmic Justice League, there's also a link for them in the resources. This is a group she started that really follows this, right? So there are people doing work, and she's an important person to follow. The other area is artists, authors, and copyright, okay? So while I may ask AI to help me with a prompt for a certain style of art, I did not ask for a certain artist. And that's where it crosses the line, right? Where you ask for a specific artist or author. Write me a story in the style of, and pick an author who's living today, or create a photograph or an illustration in the style of this living artist's name. The AI has consumed a lot of actual people's copyrighted information that's out there as part of its innate training. There are ways, again, how do you avoid this? You verify it, you prompt carefully, you avoid using people's names. I will say, even for something that's art historical, like French Impressionism, as opposed to give me painting in the style of Degas, right? So it's important, especially though with living artists, you want to avoid it, to be respectful to the living artists. And also the whole thing around AI and copyright, just know that this is going to take some time to work out in the courts. A lot of people will ask questions about it. And it is going to work itself out in the courts. This is new and this is a new problem. And there's probably a lot of attorneys making a lot of money on this one, but you can avoid copyright. You know, don't upload copyrighted material and then ask AI, right? Yeah, avoid specific people's names. That's the best way to stay. I even avoid doing stuff like I want a cartoon in the style of the New Yorker magazine, because that is certain living artists that are doing cartoons for the New Yorker magazine, and they will look remarkably like a New Yorker magazine illustrator who has spent years crafting, you know, building their skills. The last kind of risk area is around privacy, okay? So when you, I think you can pop to the next slide, when you put something into your AI prompt, if you are using one of the free tools, know that whatever you put into that prompt and hit return is going in as training data, okay? Which then, you know, that's how AI systems learn these probabilities, is that they've consumed a whole lot of like text and information and images, and they've processed this. So essentially, if you put data into a prompt, it is going back, it feeds back into the system, and it becomes training data for the AI system. You don't want to put people's names there. You don't want to put proprietary content or strategies or ideas, anything you wouldn't want to have go out there. So you avoid, like anything, especially people's names and personal identifying information. Unless you are in one of the, well, I actually talk about that in a slide, so I'll save that. So I think on the next slide, I realize we don't want to run out of time. We want to make sure we have some time to do some live demo. Okay, so I was just saying personal information, avoid putting people stuff in there, anything strategic with your organization or anything kind of report that hasn't been published yet. You want to avoid putting that in its entirety. There is a way around that, and that is with some of the paid versions. So if you go to the next one, with the paid versions, the Microsoft 365 Copilot, or ChatGPT team, or Claude also has a team. The Claude never uses data for training data, even in it's free. But if you're using AI through your organization's Microsoft 365 and you're logged in, and that's how you're accessing it, then your data is protected as it would be in your 365 enterprise, right? ChatGPT offers a program, which is, I think, $30 user per month. And that also, the data, what you put into your prompt does not go into training data. And Claude does the same thing, but none of their data, no people's data is used for training. But I am often wary of free products for reasons like this. All right, but that's how you can kind of.
And Heather W. Has a question about privacy concerns when using AI, in her case for grant writing. So Heather, let us know if that answered your question. I think that question came in before Kim got to these last couple of slides. So if you still do have a question about that, please do update us and let us know.
I wouldn't put it into free ChatGPT if there's any proprietary or information that you wouldn't want to have kind of go into training data. Again, it's not like you're leaving it like on your competitor's desk, but it is becoming, you know, it's becoming exposed and you don't know how. I think that's it for me. And this is you.
Okay. All right. We are like very behind our timings. So let me know, Kim, sort of what we should do around this. But all right. So examples can be instructive. Currently, a lot of what I'm going to go through now, I want everybody to take with this giant grain of salt, which is that this is changing fairly rapidly. And so these are strategies that have been effective with the current state of models, like the current versions that are available, but updated versions are coming out rapidly. And OpenAI's new version, which we'll talk about briefly, has already changed some of the advice we're giving here. So please be aware of that. Okay, so zero shot, one shot, few shot are terms you may hear. Basically has to do with the number of examples. So Heather, for your example, if there's a grant that you want to write, you could either give it no examples of a successful grant. You could give it one example, like here's a grant that's a very good example of a grant application. Or you could give it many, give it 10 different grant applications that are all good. The most effective seems to be one shot for those kinds of things. Give it one example, say this is a great example of this thing. Now I want you to write a new thing that looks like this, but use that as an example. That seems to work pretty well. All right, in the current iterations of these. Okay, zero shot. So we'll skip over this. These are kind of examples that we just have a video of, but I think we'll go past that. Chain of thought. Here's another one that changes. Okay, so I talked before about this cascading effect, where if I ask it to write me a grant application, and at any point as it's writing it, it kind of goes off the rails, it's going to continue to go off the rails because of that prediction algorithm, right? It's not thinking like a human being, it's predicting the next word. So as soon as it gets worse, it's going to keep getting worse. And that's why often you see these really ridiculous results when you're asking for things, is this kind of cascade effect of how AIs can do that because of the prediction. So chain of thought is a technique that tries to correct for that by telling it to break it down into steps so that it has a chance to kind of course correct and prevent it from doing those things. All right, so that is another technique that works. This is still very effective on the modern tools that you're most likely to be using, but OpenAI actually discourages you from doing this, and we'll get to that with its newest model. Okay,
Only the newest.
So the device, or go ahead, Kim. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying only in the newest model, but yeah. So
only in the newest model, which you only have access to if you're using the paid version of ChatGPT, and even then, only if you're selecting it as the model you're using. So this is where, again, this still isn't complicated. This still doesn't require any programming experience or any deep technical knowledge. You just have to be aware, right, and stay informed of these different things so that you can make the most effective use of these tools. And if you ignore all of this, you're still going to be able to use these tools to some effect. It just won't be as effective as someone who understands their strengths and weaknesses a little better, and that's from using it and kind of staying in. So OpenAI is built into what's called the system prompt, which we're going to get into. A lot of these, kind of chain of thought and one-shot kind of ideas, and so they don't want you to add to that. It actually makes for a worse output. Okay, so let's talk about system prompts. Most of the models don't show you their system prompts. These are the prompts that the developers of the system have basically put into it before you get to it. Okay, and an example of this going kind of wrong was with Google's Gemini, where they had put in system prompts, which I think they are publicly available now, to try to mitigate bias in their image generators. And the kind of computer term, they overfit the instructions and encourage diversity and things and all that. So you basically couldn't generate, like, kind of, if I said I'd like some images of kind of classic Nazis, it would not generate white Nazis. They would either be Asian or people of color or, other things. And people were like, what is going on here? Like, I can't, these are not what Nazis look like. Anyway, and there were dozens of other examples of that because there was a system prompt there that was doing that. Anthropic, which is really nice, makes their system prompt publicly available. And if you want some kind of, for some people, perhaps interesting reading, they make their system prompts available over time. So you can see how they're continuously modifying their system prompt to improve the outputs, mitigate bias, improve quality, all of those kinds of things. All right, Kim, back to you.
I think I'm going to go, just so that we can spend more time. I think we can, because we've talked a lot about it's a conversation. So I think we can skip to the slide with the quote, the 10-hour rule. Okay, so Ethan Malik, who is someone that we follow, and actually in a moment we can yeah, give you the link to that article. Recommend following him in general. Because he has a lot of good thoughts about AI. So it takes time to get to learn how to have this conversation with your intern. Remember, we're learning to have a conversation with an intern. He recommends spending 10 or so hours. Like after 10 or so hours, you then learn how to engage and have a conversation that allows you to get more things that are closer to what you want. Won't be perfect, but so that's kind of that's his suggestion when people ask him, how do I best learn AI? Where can I go to learn how to write prompts? He will say, spend about 10 or so hours practicing. So, and I have found that to be true. I think on the next slide, so this is where we have a link to the AI policy. That's one of the resources, Josh. So they have that in the resources
Okay.
button, as well as a document that has sample prompts. So the AI acceptable use policy includes a template. All right. So now here's time for, okay, we do have time for the live demo. Or
Great.
questions.
Yeah.
So if you have any, I think on the next slide I added like some of the kind of ornery things we could do. Yeah. You have like a challenging communication, an RFP you don't want to write, social media, if anything you would like us to try to do.
And the tools I have available here, let me see, I'll drop this up and I'll share my entire desktop. Everybody seeing that now? So you can see ChatGPT, which we have available. I've got Copilot here. One thing, just while we're waiting for folks to come in, is I was playing with, this is Google's Notebook LM. So if you have a Google account, this is a free tool that is available to you. And just as something kind of fun here, let me make sure I shared my sound. I did, fantastic. So I went ahead and so one of the things it does is an audio overview. So I fed this slide deck, all right, to Notebook LM, and it created, all right, some, hang on, So we have a FAQ for the course. We have responses. We have, what are all these things? Oh yeah, here's the FAQ for the course. It just generated all this for us, which is kind of fun. But the interesting thing is it also made a podcast.
Okay, so AI for good, right? Using tech to make a difference. That's what we're diving into today.
And it's a hot topic.
Seriously, everyone's talking about AI, but we wanted to cut through the noise and see how it's actually playing out in the nonprofit world.
Which is why we dug into this crash course from Roundtable Technology. They're known for making tech accessible, especially for nonprofits.
Exactly. And they're doing some really interesting work with something called AI prompting.
Yeah, and they don't assume you're already an AI whiz, which I appreciate.
Right. They start by asking.
So anyway, that's an 8-minute podcast that sounds for all the world like two people chatting, generated just from the slide deck that you just saw. Nothing else.
While we were giving the presentation, just so
yeah. So so that's just kind of a cool thing I've been playing with. If you happen to be taking a class right now, basically you can just continue adding sources. So you can add documents, websites, text, PDFs, anything you want, and then it will generate like FAQs for you, study materials. It's designed as kind of a knowledge management system for individuals, where you can create these little knowledge management archives around specific topics that you're trying to learn. I have been enjoying this a lot. I find it quite interesting. You can put 50 source materials in there in total, which is quite a lot. So that's kind of cool. All right, so
mindful of privacy.
Be mindful of privacy. Yes, absolutely. So does anyone have some work they'd like us to try to do for you? or any kind of AI task that, we have all these different tools available to us. I could share out that podcast if you want. I did download it. Hang on. Let me share that in case anyone wants to listen to the podcast discussion of this webinar. All right, here we
Similarly,
go.
if anyone has any questions that you'd like to ask, please feel free. You don't have to, ask us to do something if you're not quite sure. Let's see. But feel free to ask us.
Great. 3 to 4 fundraising email outreach drafts. I want these emails to different style depending on the segmentation of our donor base. What's a useful prompt in this scenario? All right, anonymous attendee. What I would like to do, just to do an example, is the persona prompts that Kim was talking about before. Can you give us just a little bit of information about the target audience for these fundraising emails?
Or the type of thing you do at that nonprofit.
Can they unmute, by the way? Can the attendees unmute and talk to us, or that'd be faster, but if not, that's okay. They can't. Okay, so anonymous attendee, we'd love to know your personas or your, who the audience is for these fundraising emails. If I don't hear from you in a minute, I think we'll just start. Kim, do you have the persona prompt in that Google document that you linked there?
I do.
Yeah, okay, great. So let's pull that over and I will search for persona.
I think it's later. I think there's if you go to outline.
Go to the outline.
Yeah. If you view it in Google and show the outline, you'll find it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Personas in there.
Yeah, I have one. I have a persona prompt.
Oh.
Right. So we'll go ahead and use ChatGPT for this. All right. And I am a nonprofit organization that specializes in zombie rights and advocacy. All right. The audience is wealthy zombies and zombie friendly supporters and advocates. All right, it's Halloween coming up here in the US, so we'll do that one. All right, and we will generate some personas. Okay, so now what it's going to do is generate some personas. And this is helpful for the anonymous attendee first. Just make assumptions. Okay. Proceed. I have a system prompts of my own that are kind of posting other questions. Go ahead, Kim. Sorry.
I'm going to say Josh's system prompt, and this is one of the things that ChatGPT allows you to create, kind of an underlying set of instructions. His system prompt wants to make sure that it has enough information, or asks whether it has any other questions in order to provide a better response. So it asked him that.
Right, so we're creating these personas, and once they're done creating, I think it's going to make 5 of them, then we'll ask it to write 5 different fundraising emails that are designed to engage these personas. All right, and that would be an example of for that attendee of how I would start doing this, and then see what the quality of that output was and whether it was kind of sufficient for me. And I'll drop all this into a Google Doc and share it out when we're done, so that we can share all this. Okay, so now we'll say, and by the way, I'm using the desktop application. There's also a mobile app. So one thing I'll just demonstrate very quickly after this finishes is talking to it, which I actually find easier because I'm a faster talker and I think better when I'm talking than when I'm writing, when I'm typing rather. So I will typically do that. All right, so almost done here.
Okay, so a range of zombie allies and zombie concerns.
Now, could you please write 5 different fundraising emails specifically designed to engage these audience personas? Please let me know if you understand my instructions and if you have any questions. All right, so that just does it for my microphone. It also has like a talk back and forth, a little talk back with me so we can have a conversation. So it's going to, again, this is my system prompt where I have included chain of thought, and I actually ask it to tell me how it's breaking down the plan before proceeding. And then I can tell it to proceed. And I also have my system prompt say, if you have questions, ask me the questions, but also make assumptions about my answers, and then just tell me the assumption you're making. And that's just to save time. Just so if it's like, oh, those assumptions look fine, just go right ahead. All right, and now here we go. We have some example fundraising emails. All right. Zombie Rights Advocacy Network, ZRAN. That's a little hard to pronounce. All right, $10,000 ask. That's pretty good. All right. So, and it's just going to continue cranking out. Now it's writing one for Martha. So it's basically just writing one for each person. All right. So what we can do is while that's chugging along, I'll move that off to my other screen and we can work on the next one. So how do I ask AI to generate promotional content for social media? That's easy. You just ask. So what I will do is actually take those same outputs. Let me go grab those, and I will say,
In the persona.
Yeah. Huh?
You can take the same personas.
The same personas, right? Okay. So let me go grab these. Okay. Okay. I'm going to paste that in here. And now, because we're doing it here, we can use O1 Preview and see how this works. Below are a set of audience personas. I don't know, is it personas, personae? I don't even know. Please generate 5 social media posts.
And I think they wanted Instagram
to this audience.
For different platforms.
Please make one example each.
Instagram.
For Instagram. What were the other ones?
Facebook and X.
Facebook and Twitter. I can't call it X, I'm sorry. And we'll do LinkedIn as well. Oops, helps if I add the personas, right?
So
this is slower because it's doing all of its thinking and it's kind of walking you through. It's a little bit buggy, so it may freeze out. No, it did a pretty good job. Okay. So it's still thinking. Let's see if it's going to make the images. Please make the indicated images. And by the way, a lot of people ask me about the please and thank you and all those other things. It's not necessary at all when you're talking to these. I just, with anything digital that I interact with, I try to be polite so that I don't develop the habit of being impolite. That is literally the only reason. I'm just worried if I start bossing my AI around, I'll start bossing my friends and colleagues around, and they will not be as friendly and patient as the AI. Oh, I see. It's creating the image descriptions for me. So I think this one doesn't make images, right? Does the preview not generate images? We're gonna have to go back to the other version for this. Oh, but we are at time now. Okay. Thinking, crafting an image concept, showcasing the scene. Will it make an image? Let's find out. No, it's not making it. Yeah, it's just going to tell us how to do it. So we'll go back to the regular GPT version and have it do there. Ta-da! So,
Or a bunch of
all
like,
right,
like basketball player zombies. Okay.
yeah, I don't know. It's a little strange. Okay, so let me so here are the social media posts that we generated. All right, and I will pop that into a Google Drive, and I'll just put all of this into one thing. And then we'll come over here and we'll grab our personas. Sorry that we're running a little long, everybody. I apologize. All right. Share this out to.
Can you share our podcast? Have you?
I did that. I can drop a link in. I actually already shared that in the
So you didn't
chat.
realize you were going to be part of a podcast today, I bet.
Oh, you want me to add this to the podcast so they can talk about the zombies? I could do all that.
No,
then
no,
have it
no, no,
reach out.
no. No,
Okay.
no. I just said that the link to it.
All right. So, and here is that link for everybody. All right. And I think we should probably wrap it up there. Oops. Okay. Hopefully that was helpful to everybody. So now you've got the kind of it going through and creating all the personas. We've got the emails that were generated. We've got the social media posts that were generated. And it didn't generate images because I was using the 01 version, but you can easily take that into any of the other image tools that we looked at. Not
If
bad,
you
though.
have 01, then you have 40. So that
Right, so
then
Misha and Hiba, anything else before we sign off?
No, I think we can wrap it up. We are also a bit over time. So thank you so much, Kim. Thank you so much, Josh. This has been an extremely enlightening and engaging session for all of us. I think we'll all agree that you really broke down some complex concepts and into very, very simple ways in a very engaging and definitely fun way as well. We've learned a lot on the potential of effective prompt crafting to also being aware and being mindful when you're working with AI as well. So a big shout out to you guys for giving us your time. And we also had a lot of fun organizing and setting up this webinar with you all, with you both. So yeah, as we wrap up, I'd like to take this opportunity to once again thank our speakers and everyone who joined us from different time zones. We hope this webinar was useful for everyone and hoping you can incorporate some or all of these learnings into your current projects in your organization's mission programs as well. So yeah, lastly, everybody, please feel free to connect with Kim and Josh on LinkedIn, reach out to them directly to leverage the platform of Roundtable Technology as well. And yeah, thanks again, everyone. Kim, Josh, would you like to say any final closing remarks for our audience? Yeah.
Leave it to you, Kim.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us today, and happy experimentation.
Yeah. So thanks. Have a fantastic evening, morning, afternoon, from whichever time zone you guys are joining. We'll see you in the next webinar very soon. And we appreciate your engagement and giving us your time. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.